Hello guys, good morning. This is Manish Gupta. Let's start our new chapter. Let's understand the Azure about Azure in today classes. And earlier we have already completed our resource group and subscription. Hope you guys have visited my blog and see the videos as well. So you can like me and subscribe. Let's start understanding the Azure. So basically, uh, in cloud, we do have multiple deployment environment like public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and multi-cloud. So these are the cloud environment where we can deploy our resources in multiple scenarios and model. For example, like we have deployed the various applications in various architecture we require. So defining the architecture depends on which cloud version or which cloud deployment method we are using. So basically there are three main cloud deployment method, but we are going to study the fourth one as well. So the main three are public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. The fourth one is multi-cloud. So let's start the private cloud. So private cloud is the deployment method, for example, like where our resources is hosted with a public network or public IP addresses, or it can be accessible via open internet or public IP. Okay, so this is the main concept where on public cloud we are deploying the resources. So imagine like if we take an example, so imagine like we have a a virtual machine, and if a virtual machine have a public IP, we can access it from anywhere. We don't require any VPN or any traffic tunnel or anything to connect with that. If it have public IP, we can connect to the any internet. We are sitting in a cafe or we are sitting in a home or we are at like office anywhere we can easily access our virtual machine without any glitch. So such type of resources are known as public cloud that does not concluded any private IP, and it can be accessible over public IP. So they are obviously understand like anything that have pros and cons. So our public cloud have also pros and cons. To discuss about that, so high elasticity and scalability. So yes, it can be scalable and it have a high elasticity, as we know, like we can access it from anywhere, right? And it is a low cost subscription based pricing tier, so we don't have to pay multiple like create multiple tunnel or anything. It can be directly accessible, so it is like budget friendly, and we don't have to pay much more for that as well. And it is on public cloud, so we can easily access it from anywhere. Make sense like we are on home office or sitting at a cafe or in like roaming here and there. Okay, and as it is on the public cloud, so we don't have to configure much more resources to access that, like the tunnel, the site to site VPN, point to site VPN, anything. So the maintenance is also low, and the complexity is also reduced in that case. But the cons, there are few cons. So it is, like if anything is accessible from anywhere, like the hacker will be going to drag and do further activities on the applications. So yes, it is like decreased in security perspectives and availability. Okay, and we don't have maximum control over there because it is in public cloud, so anyone can try to access that. Okay, so there are minimal control for that as well, and it have the high potential for the tissue. Okay, so these are the few things that we can like keep in mind while we are configuring any public cloud. But in the same way, if we'll configure a private cloud, It will be more secure in respect to public cloud, because see, if you will talk about the private cloud, the deployment method is decided by us, like how we are deploying the resources, and how we are accessing the applications and all. So it is shared across the dedicated single organization, or we can use the VPN or private network to access such type of private cloud resources. So it is more secure in respect to public, because see, in private cloud our resources have only private IPs, private, and it is hosted on the private network. So in that scenario, what will happen, like each of the applications whatever we have hosted on the cloud, that can be only accessible via the single organization where our site to site is configured, or if we require to access the particular resources that is available on our Azure portal or cloud portal and hosted over the private network, then we require a private network as well that should be connected with our uh, devices. Then only we can able to access that applications. So if you talk about the pros and cons, then yes, it is expensive environment, and we do have custom security. In private, we don't have any security parameters, we have minimal control, but here we have custom control. So we can manage the security part here. Regulation compliant, so we can make it compliant with the like if we are following the ISO, and also we can make our environment compliant. And it is scalability is also like we can scalable these things, because see, this is how also the control over the resources with the help of site to site or VPN. So yes, it is scalable, and performance is efficient. So if you talk about the performance, so yes, the threshold is not coming from the public network, then the performance will be definitely high, and it have high flexibility and scalable. But the cons, if we talk about the cons, then definitely if we are hosting a private cloud, then definitely we are using site to site VPN, point to site private networks, so price is definitely going to be high. Okay. And we can't like log in from everywhere, like we are sitting in a cafe, we want to log into that particular device from any further device. We can't do that, we have a mobile difficulty. Okay. And scalability is depends like how we are scaling, and it may be like added the extra cost as well, so it might be expensive in respect to public. But yes, we can do scalability, but the cost again. Okay. If we'll talk about limiting infrastructure, so limiting infrastructure is showing nothing but just like we can access the devices or resources from a limited number of devices or limited number of places or limited network. So this is something we have to focus on while we are configuring the private cloud. Now hybrid cloud. So if the name itself describe, like yes, it is depends like the public and private. If we are merging the both environment in a single environment for the deployment prospectus, then it is known as hybrid cloud. So in hybrid cloud, basically what we are doing, we are merging private and public, both of the resources. So we do have few resources that have publicly accessible, we do have few resources that is privately accessible. So such type of environment is known as hybrid cloud. For example, imagine we are hosting an application that is accessible from internet and having a public IP and private IP both. So via public IP, what we are doing, we are accessibling the applications from public, but in the same case, we have a private IP that is making a connection with the database that is hosted with a private IP. So imagine in our environment we have a application web app that is on public cloud, and we have a SQL server that is a private cloud, but the web app is connected with the SQL server. So in nutshell we can say like entire environment is on hybrid cloud. few resources in public network, few resources in the private network. Okay, and if we talk about the pros and cons, so definitely the policy can be driven and deployment option as available, high scalable, security and flexibility is there, reliability is there, we can control the cost, minimal security risk because you will have public and private both their involvements, and security involvement is improved there. But yes, the potential is high at TCO. And if we talk about the integration, this is complex because see, if we are going through the public and private, then we have to think about multiple security concerns there. So yes, that is like little bit complex, but yes, doable. And the price tracking management is little bit difficult because we have to understand what resources are on on-prem, what resources are on cloud. So such type of trackability is not available with cloud features, so we have to think twice about the pricing management. Okay, and organizational infra management is also like, if we'll talk, see, we do have different environment, on-prem environment and cloud environment. So if we'll the management of both environment we have to take care, so it is a little bit complex but doable. But yes, it is like hectic, that's why I have put it as a cons. Multi-cloud, if we talk about the multi-cloud is nothing but yes, there are multiple cloud service provider available in market, like Microsoft Azure is one of them, AWS is, Google Suite, Adobe. So there are multiple cloud provider. Okay, Alibaba. So if in our environment we are taking two or more than two cloud service provider and running our infrastructure. So imagine I do have a virtual machine that is hosted over the Azure, and I have a SQL server that is hosted over the AWS. So there are multiple cloud, and we are using on a single platform. So such type of cloud is known as multi-cloud. So multi-cloud is nothing but merging of two or more different cloud providers in a single network. So I will upload this video link here, so you can go through video explanation, and you can find this video, and you can go through my blog, and you can find this blog address as well. And thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. We'll meet in next lecture. Thank you.